So the topic is quality of service in 5G, and this is part 1. There is another part 2. So in this part, I will be covering, rather it is a recap for you, because initially I had started with this PDU session and quality of service flow, a recap of that, and then we will look at 5G quality of service architecture, how it looks like onto the radio and core. We will also try to understand what is quality of service rule, what is quality of service profile, what is SDF template, and then we'll talk about two-step mapping of the resources. Then we'll talk about default QS flow, and then we'll talk about guaranteed bitrate QS flow, and then we'll talk about how the QS flow is there in the network slice. So let us start. And I have taken all the content from this particular specifications. So para 5 of this 23.501, which I have shared with all of you. You can just go through. It is written in a plain language even in this specification document. So you can just go through. So I had explained that the 5G, we have user plane and control plane completely separated out. And onto the user plane, the PDU session gets created whenever UV want to establish a PDU session for data traffic. And in a PDU session, which is created after say initial registration or subsequently whenever there is a request coming from the user equipment, in that the PDU session is always unique for a particular UV. Although an UV can have more than one PDU session, but the PDU session is unique to the user equipment. And since user equipment can try to access many services which requires say different quality of service, so every quality of service within the PDU session has to be identified. For that purpose, we have QS flow ID. So generally they write as a QFI. So please remember. So QFI. So QFI is QS flow ID. So so every QS flow within the PDU session will have a QFI, so that system identifies what kind of quality of service is to be enforced. And there can be one or more than one QS flow within the PDU session. So when for the first time a PDU session is created, one default QS flow is already added, right? So user can start using that. When we say default QS profile, which is QS flow with default QS profile, which is added, is like on a best effort basis. We can say that whatever if you want to access internet and all those you can access. But when you start accessing services requiring different quality of service, so different QS flows will be added within the same PDU session, so that different kind of services can be availed by the user or user equipment. So this was PDU session and QS flow. So just to summarize that, after registration, if the user equipment want to create a PDU session, so then a PDU session is established. In that, as we discussed, that AMF and SMF and UPF, all threes are involved in that process. And PDU session is unique for a user equipment. It is not a case that one PDU session is being shared by more than one user equipment. That will not be a case. And all those quality of service will be enforced at QS flow level. So the smaller pipe which we saw within the PDU session, those were QS flow. So the lowest granularities for managing quality of service in 5G is QS flow level. And then depending upon the quality of service, which is kind of a QFI, quality of service flow identifier, would be there in every QS flow. The packet would be kind of a filtered or classified and marked to a particular QFI, right? So if suppose there are many IP flows which is coming, which is to be first filtered uh, based on which QFI to apply, and then those are kind of transported in different QS flow, right? So within a PDU session, please remember there can be one or more than one quality of service flows, the smaller pipe which we saw. So these were the concept till now. So now this is very, very important. Yeah, please.
So one question. So on the previous slide and taking a reference from LTE, PDU session, at least in LTE or the PDN session there, so we used to call it against each APN. So if there are different APN like internet, IMS, and so on, so those were the different PDN sessions. And within one session, for let's say for IMS, there can be different QoS, but for internet, there was one common QoS. There were no multiple QoS within of that. Now, with that as a background, you are saying if for internet there is a PDU session that has been established, within of this PDU session itself, we will have different QoS.
So normally internet will be a default QoS. So whenever a new PDU session is created, there is a one default QoS flow. QoS flow with default QoS profile, we should say, gets created. So all those best effort services, that is internet also, will be using that QoS flow itself. But for other services where a different requirement of QoS flow is there, for example, I can give you one example. Even if suppose an TSP, an operator has an agreement about YouTube that a certain customers will be offered a better quality of service when they are streaming YouTube. YouTube is one is that is an plain internet based effort service. Other can be even operators along with the service provider can tie up to provide a different set of quality service even on those services which are there on the plain internet. So depending upon what agreement they may have. For example, Netflix can also have that kind of arrangement. Today, Netflix is just an OTT or kind of best effort basis we are accessing. But tomorrow, if the integration is there as application function we talked about, we can have a separate quality of service for Netflix also. So I hope it is clear to you.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay, this is very, very important piece of picture. So wherein we are showing the user plane part. So onto the left you have UE, then you have G node B, or we call it radio access network, and then you have UPF, and beyond this you will have the data network, any data network depending upon the service. So the and you also remember the interfaces from G node B to UPF, it was N3 interface, right? And from UE onto the, let me take this call and come back. Yeah, sorry. So if you look at this, the yellow color which you are seeing here is a PDU session. This yellow color pipe which you see represents a PDU session, right? So within PDU session, uh, as we had discussed that there can be one or more than one QoS flow. So the three pipe which you are seeing is a QoS flow, different QoS flow. So for example, they have shown as QFI1, QFI2, and QFI3, right? So onto the radio part, if you look at between user equipment and G node B, what do you have is the air interface, right? So there we call it DRB. So these smaller pipe, just see this pipe. These are AN resources, we call it access network resources. In our case, if it is say G node B, then these will be called data radio bearer. So data radio bearers are nothing but frequency and time resources, or if you remember the concept of grid, certain set of resource element. So what you see here is that so here, this is one DRB and here the another DRB, data radio bearer. So what we are see here that one DRB can have one QS flow or even more than one QS flow. So specification allows that in one DRB, you can have one QS flow or more than one QS flow. So onto the radio part, you have DRB. Now let us look at between G node B and UPF.
There are
So,
DRB service-based resources.
so those are nothing but your resource elements, set of resource element, right? Frequency and time resources.
So these are like one service will be associated with one DRB.
No, since two QS flows are running onto that, right? There are two QS flows running onto the same DRB. So it is possible to add one or more DRB. So the network will decide that in a DRB which it has allocated to a UV, whether one QS flow will run or more than one QS flow will run. If required, you can create a separate DRB also for say QS flow 3. So it is up to the network to decide.
So sir,
It
like
is not
if
in 4G it was one-to-one mapping. Here it is one to many mapping is also possible.
so these will be different services in itself, but requiring the same amount of resource elements basically, but
Yeah,
having
so
a different QS service.
correct. So you're talking about different IP flow or SDF, right? So basically the traffic which is coming from a service will be there in a QS flow. Please wait for the next picture wherein I'll be showing you how SDF are mapped onto the QS flow. It will become more clearer. So just understand about the different tunnel which gets created. Onto G node B and UPF, you have a single tunnel. Just see the big gray color pipe here. A single tunnel, we call it onto the N3 interface. So that is GTP tunnel, we call it N3 GTP tunnel. So GPRS tunneling protocol is used. So within a single tunnel, all the QS flows are managed. So if you look at 4G, it was one-to-one mapping. Here it is onto this interface. You have a single tunnel. Within that tunnel, you have different QS flow. But for one PDU session, there is a one GTP tunnel. Please remember, for every PDU session, you have a tunnel. That tunnel is handling all the QS flow within that PDU session. Onto the radio part, I can have one DRB or more than one DRB. So please understand this particular concept. So basically, in nutshell, a PDU session may contain multiple QS flows, as we saw here, several DRBs, but a single GTP-U user plane tunnel, right? N3 GTP-U tunnel. And one DRB can support one QS flow or even more than one QS flow. Now, what kind of QS it can support? 5G can support. So types of QS flow. So there are four different types. One is that quality of service which requires guaranteed bitrate. For example, if you are running a voice, so to run a voice, although small, but a guaranteed bitrate would be required. Quality of service with non-guaranteed bitrate. Even 5G supports delay critical services. So delay critical guaranteed bitrate services. And there is a concept of reflective QS, which was not there in 4G, has also come in 5G. Reflective QS is a quality of service applied by user equipment in uplink direction based on the quality of service which was applied in downlink direction. So that we call it reflective QS. We'll talk about more in the upcoming slides. Okay, so let us summarize. One or more PDU session for each UE. So as we saw that at least one PDU session will be created on registration for each UE, and in PDU session at least one DRB onto the radio side will be added. Additional DRB if required can be added subsequently, and then mapping of packet belonging to different PDU session to different DRB. So if the PDU session is different, DRB cannot be shared across PDU session, right? So within a PDU session, that DRB will be used. It will not share with other DRB, and it supports guaranteed bitrate, non-guaranteed bitrate, delay critical GBR, and reflective QoS. So this is the summary of the previous two slides. Just understand. So this will give you uh, quite a bit detail. Yeah, please.
Just one thing, like in the earlier statement, you said one or more PDU sessions for each UE.
Yeah.
So UE can have multiple PDUs.
As
In
we
this example,
discussed,
you
no,
said,
that's if you recall, we discussed that the splitting concept, right, wherein
yeah,
UP was able to access G Node B and also access Wi-Fi network simultaneously to aggregate
yes, sir.
the data. So there can be more than one PDU session. There are other scenario also. I just gave you example.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, just look at this picture. I mean, there are so many terminology, so don't worry about that. Basic concept I will try to explain. So just look at first the picture here that onto the radio side, here what we are saying 1 DRB in blue color. So PDU session is dot dot dot, if you all these dot here, PDU session. So you have one QS flow here, and then you have a second QS flow within the same DRB, and here you have a single GTP U tunnel between G node B and UPF. Now within the QS flow 1, there can be one or more than one service. So suppose Netflix, right? So Netflix become one SDF, service data flow. SDF is nothing but service data flow, a particular service. In QS flow, there are two SDF added. I think this will answer the question which was asked by someone in the previous slide, that so here one QS flow can accommodate more than one service if the QS requirement of these two SDF are same. So one QS flow may cater to more than one services at this level. So I think it is now clear. So now to manage quality of service, as we say that PCF is involved because policy and charging function. AMF is involved because UV first interact with AMF. The access point for UV inside the core is the AMF only. SMF is the entity which actually manage the session. So quality of service enforcement is also job of SMF. And since it has to be all done in the UPF, so UPF will also require certain rules and guidance to manage the quality of service. So how it is done, I'll tell you that for each PDU session which gets created, and after that if a user want to avail certain service, at that point of time the PCF provides, we call it PCC rule, right, to SMF. Some kind of rule is provided to SMF for each of the quality of service which user want to access. Now SMF job is to convert that rule or policy and send it to user equipment, because user equipment has to play a very big role in uplink traffic, and also to the G node B because the DRB allocation, etc., and other parameter, other aspects has to be taken care, and of course the UPF. So just look at the terminology. When SMF sends those rules to UV, it is called QS rule. In 5G, we call it quality of service rule, which is given to UV by SMF. Whatever goes to G node B is called QS profile. So SMF sends QS profile to Z node B. and whatever goes to UPF from the SMF is called either SDF template, or in some cases you will read PDU, uh, packet data rules, PDR, product packet data rules. So now, before a quality of service is applied, all these information are passed on to respective network element UV, GNodeB, and UPF. Let us look at some of the parameters, right? For example, let us look at GNodeB QS profile, which is coming from SMF, what all it may contain. So I'll just read some of the parameters. Rest will go through in the part 2 of the QS session. So there is a concept called UV Umber. So UV, Umber is aggregate maximum bitrate. In case of a guaranteed bitrate kind of quality of service, the GNodeB has to ensure that aggregate maximum bitrate allowed is this much, right? So it will throttle down. I mean, it will manage in a sense that at any point of time for a UV, aggregate maximum bitrate will not be more than the value defined here, right? Similarly, for again for guaranteed bitrate, within a flow, within a QS flow, the maximum flow bitrate is also defined. So there is a guaranteed flow bitrate and there is a maximum flow bitrate. So the overall bitrate within the PDU session has to be between the two. Minimum would be guaranteed and maximum would be maximum flow bitrate, right? And there are certain other parameters, right? Similarly, the SDF template, which is being sent from SMF to UPF for QS management, will contain basically the filters, right? We call it packet filters. So filters means what? If traffic are coming from different services, IP flows from a DN to UPF, it will filter out and know that this traffic is coming from Netflix, this traffic is coming from YouTube, this traffic is coming from ARVR, and these rules are already there as a filters, PDU rule we call it, given by SMF. So it will be able to segregate or classify different IP flows into a bucket and apply respective quality of service flow ID QFIs, right? So with filters, it will differentiate. So it will put some traffic in this QS flow, some traffic in this QS flow, depending upon the filters or the rules it has got from SMF. Now onto the GNodeB. So here the mapping would be onto the DRBs. A particular QFI which is coming from, say, in downlink direction from UPF towards GNodeB. So it will decide onto which DRB this QS flow will be there, and accordingly those will be mapped. Onto the reverse direction, uplink direction, UV has got QS rule. So this is again a kind of a filtering rule, and there are certain other parameters. So applications inside the U, there will be many applications. So whatever flows are getting generated, it will apply those filter and then add a QFI. And based on QFI, along with GNodeB, it will be residing on a particular QS flow on a particular DRB. So this is how concept of QS rule, QS profile, and SDF template is. So in case you have any doubt, I'll answer, because this is a bit complex, but I've tried to make it simple. So if you have any questions, please ask. Otherwise, I'll proceed.
The rules would be coming from the PCRF, right? But
PCF. No.
suppose
So
if it
basically, the overall PCF, policy control function, will provide some direction to SMF, and SMF will, based on that rule which has got from PCC, it will create three kind of One is the QS rule for UE, QS profile for G node B, and PDR or SDF template for UPF.
No, but in SMF the static rule or predefined rule that would be manually provisioned in SMF. All the dynamic rules would be coming from the PCRF, and based on those dynamic rules, SMF will provision the QS profile. Is it like that?
No, it's not. So basically, if you look at the overall architecture, so there are certain QFIs, QFI quality of service flow IDs, for which all the parameters are already defined, kind of a pre-configured. So even those parameters would already be there in the UV or G node B and the UPF, right? So only the requirement would be that for a particular quality of service, what is the QFI, and they can apply. So there are set of such parameters. Beyond that, all these parameters has to be signaled in each case. So if it is a standard QFI being used in the network, those are even pre-configured not only in SMF but also in G node B and UPF, and the UE also will have that pre-configured or pre-supplied kind of. But wherever it is not using the standard values, all these has to be signaled. Is that
So,
okay?
so all the control plane rule information that will come from SMF to UPF, and UPF will just enforce it. So all the intelligence would be there in SMF,
Yes.
and UPF will be just forwarding it.
Forwarding means applying that rule. So rule has to be applied, right? So there are many parameters in the rule which will be applied by UPF, G node B, and UE, all the three.
So
Any more?
how is the cost different from 4G here? Means what are the exact parameters where it's different?
So in 4G, so the only difference with 4G is that in 5G they have added a new protocol called SDF, Service Data Adoption Protocol. So all these QS flow is managed at SDAP layer, which is between UE and Z node B, the radio part up to the radio that is defined. Whereas this was not there in 4G, that is one. Second difference is that in 4G there was one-to-one mapping from UV to Z node B to serving gateway to PDN gateway. There was a one-to-one mapping which was happening. So they are saying that it was not a efficient use of the resources onto the radio and onto the other component. So 5G, they are saying that it has become more efficient, that the same uh, resource or the same set of resource can be used more efficiently. Otherwise, QS flow was there in 4G also and 5G also. There's some enhancement which is there in the 5G. Hope it is clear.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, one question with respect to this DRB and the resource element that we learned in the previous sessions.
Yeah.
So, resource elements, if I recall it correctly, resource elements were the smallest identifiable entities between UE and G node B in time and space.
So
Now,
basically, it's not only time, frequency and time both. So basically, if
sorry,
you look at
frequency
the
and time.
grade,
Yeah.
if you look at your grade, it was one subframe, that is 1 millisecond time, and all the subcarriers based on available bandwidth. If you create a matrix, every box is your resource element, right? So one resource element is nothing but one symbol period and one subcarrier. One symbol period and one subcarrier is one RE. So in a DRB, there'll be a set of REs, right? Depending upon the requirement, how many REs are allocated to one DRB. It's as simple as that.
Correct. So, yeah, extending that. So now your each RE is identifiable to multiple DRBs that can be there in the PDU session. And further, each RE is also identifiable to the QS flow that is being associated with one DRB.
No, so DRB becomes a common resource for one or more than one QS flow. So don't say that For QS flow, you are identifying, permanent identifying. No, it is kind of shared between the two QS flows. If within the DRB, if there are two QS flow, both QS flow would be sharing. The only thing is that there is a provision to manage the resources within that. For example, there is a concept of maximum flow bit rate within the QS flow or guaranteed flow bit rate. So those will be managed within the DRB resources. And you also see one parameter uh, uh, which is called ARP. Basically, that parameter is that suppose because of constraint on the radio side, if it is not able to manage the quality of service, so out of the QS flow 1 and QS flow 2, which one will be dropped? So depend upon the priority which it may have, ARP value we call it. So depending upon that, one of the QS flow may be required to be dropped in case there is a crunch on the radio resource, or if suppose new QS flow is to be added, right, and there is no radio resources available, so whether the new one will be admitted and older would be kind of dropped, or new one will be not admitted, all depends upon various parameter including ARP.
Okay, so just for my understanding, so again, resource elements are associated to kind of DRBs,
Yeah.
and within of DRB, how a particular resource element is utilized between different QoS is left to different filters.
Different parameters like what is the guaranteed bitrate, what is the maximum bitrate it requires, and what is the priority level of this QS flow compared to other QS flow, and so on.
Okay, sir, thank you.
Okay, so shall I proceed?
So can we then say that DRB in itself is in dynamic, the capacity remains in a dynamic nature?
Yeah, so as I said that so there can be one DRB, more than one DRB in a PDU session. So the radio decides, the G node B decides that for this QS flow, so so the G node B at that point will know that what is the guaranteed bit rate, what is the maximum flow bit rate for this QS flow, and the other QS flow. Accordingly, it sets up the DRB, right? So generally, it will be able to, but suppose resource elements are added for a DRB and uh, uh, users are also moving. So sometimes you may not have a good signal itself. So although it is possible to, I mean, allocate the DRBs for you, but you'll not be able to use it because you are not in a good signal zone, right? So in that case also, so there are certain rules that how a particular QS flow for a particular user can even be dropped or throttled because he is not in a good coverage area. So there are many aspects of QS flow.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay, fine. So as I was talking about the filters, so there are, we talked about rules, that UV will get a rule and the UPF will get SDF template or PDRs, packet data rules, for the filtering purpose. If you look at this picture, I have directly taken from the specification which I have shared. So from the application layer, all those IP flows which are coming, so they will apply this rule, PDR rules, packet data uh, rules. So they will classify or filter and apply a QFI. So here, these two IP flows, this and this, they are classified to this QFI. These two say has been classified to this QFI and this one to this QFI, right? So within the PDU session, now you have three QS flow added onto the UPF. This is a downlink traffic, right? Onto the access network, here they have to uh, map this QS flow onto the AN resources, right? In our case, it was DRB, but suppose it is non-3GPP access. So there you have IPsec tunnels, right? So that's why in a generic way, specification talks about AN resources. So some of the QS flow will be added to a set of AN resources here. Some of it will be allocated to set of AN resources here, depending upon the parameters. And then onto the UV side, UV will be able to receive and segregate into different IP flows finally up to the service. In the uplink direction, UV has got QoS rules, right? So it will map the uplink packet to respective QoS flow, right? And apply. And those will, along with the respective AN, a particular AN on AN resources, this QoS flow will run. So this is called two-step QoS flow mapping, one at UPF side and other at the AN resources side. So basically, we call it NAS level mapping, which happens here, non-access stratum, and then it is an access level mapping here. I hope this is clear to all of you. Again, this is again an example of how two-step mapping takes place. I think I have taken it from some article, good article. So just see this particular picture. This is your UV, this is your G node B, this is your UPF. And let us assume that one PDU session is created overall, right? Suppose this is an overarching PDU session which you have. So within the PDU session, you may have multiple QoS flows. So suppose some traffic is coming as a best effort, maybe WhatsApp video, maybe Skype video, maybe YouTube stream, maybe a Netflix stream, maybe a voice call and video call. So there are three kind of PDU: Internet PDU, Netflix PDU, and IMS PDU. So now UPF will have rules. So we call it either SDF template or PDR. So it will classify or mark. So in this example, they have marked, say, best effort traffic to QFI 1 and say WhatsApp video and Skype video to QFI 2 and YouTube stream to QFI 3. This is just an example. Netflix to QFI 4, voice to QFI 5 and video to QFI 6. So it has got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 QFI from the same user. One user is accessing so many things. So now if you move to the radio side, air interface side, DRB mapping has to happen. So if you look at, so here SDAP player which I talked about comes into picture. Suppose there is a DRB1. So DRB1, we are just doing the best effort QoS flow. On to DRB2, I have QoS flow 3 and QoS flow 2 and 3. Then DRB3, I have QoS flow 4, DRB4 and 5. So respectively, some DRBs are allocated. So this is how the mapping takes place in downlink direction. Similar is the mapping in the uplink direction. Okay. Just to summarize, there is one-to-many relationship between DRB and GTPU. That means one DRB uh, can have one QoS flow or more than one QoS flow. Within a PDU session, there can be more than one DRB. GTPU will be a single per PDU session. Yeah, you have any question? Okay. Each QoS flow is mapped to a single GTP tunnel. GE node B may map individual QoS flow to one or more DRB. One PDU session, that means one PDU session, multiple QoS flow, there can be several DRB but single GTPU tunnel. One DRB may transport one or more QoS flow. So this is summary of whatever we have discussed so far. In downlink PDU, session information frame includes the reflective QoS indicator. In case reflective QoS is to be used in the downlink direction, whatever traffic is coming, that indicator will be there. That for uplink, you have to apply the reflective QoS. That means UV has to extract all those parameters from downlink traffic and apply onto the uplink. Now let us discuss this. Uh, just we will also kind of summarize whatever we have discussed, that when a PDU session gets created, one one QoS flow is added along with a DRB onto the radio side, right? So a DRB is also added. So one PDU session, one QoS flow, and the profile can be default. non-GBR default QS flow, the below one, right? Below one is kind of a added. Using this connectivity, a user may try to access a service which may require, say, guaranteed bitrate, maybe a gaming service. So what will happen is that it will reach out to a particular application functions through the default QS flow it has, that it want to access a particular service, say gaming service. Now that application functions will talk to PCF. If it is a inside core network, then it can just have an API call. If it is outside, then through NEF it will connect to the PCF that a user who has subscribed to that service want to access, and for that these are the QS required. So now PCF will create a rule sent to SMF, and SMF will send the PDR rule to UPF, profile to RAN, and QS rule to UE as we saw earlier. And based on that, a guaranteed flow bit rate type QS flow is added, this pink one, right, on a separate DRB. So DRB is also located here. Now suppose at that point user again want to access one more service from other application functions, say ARVR. So through NEF, PCF, same thing will happen. Now network sees that quality of service requirement is same as of, say, the earlier service. So within the same flow, they will add the another SDF, right? Either they can have a separate DRB, separate QS flow, or they can add into the same if the quality of service requirement is same. So that's how on top of a default QS flow, how a GBR QS flow gets added. So same example. So now this picture is about network slice. So when we say network slice, we are talking end to end, in the sense that I have radio, that is Z node B, then we have a backhaul, then we have a 5G core. So network slice, in this example, say I have two slices, right? Slice 1 here and slice 2 here for a different service. So the first important aspect is that the slice has to be created even in the backhaul, right? In the transmission side also, certain dedicated resources has to be created for a particular slice. So onto the radio, that is air interface, onto the backhaul, and also in the 5G core. Now within a slice, one can have one QS flow or more than one QS flow. So in this example, slice 1 is having two QS flows defined. The yellow one, say QS flow A, and this orange one, QS flow B. In the next slice, in this example, it is showing QS flow C. It is also possible that all kind of QS flow is also supported in a slice, because suppose for MVNO concept, if an operator is kind of giving its resources to a third party for selling to the customer, so it can create a slice wherein all kind of QS flow can be identified, created. So a slice can have multiple QS flows into that also. So this is the concept of QS flow within the network slices. So with this, the part 1 is complete. I would recommend all of you that these are some documents related to quality of service flow. You can Google and try to download. So for example, whatever I tried covering is this one, section 5.7 of 23.501. And suppose if you want to read this document and you feel that this is longer, then you can only read this section 12 of 38.300. And these are certain advanced document like on procedures, etc. If you have any interest, you can go through, and how those SDAP layer works. So you can also look at this particular document. So with this, I think I have covered part one. So what I'll do is I will, so now I'll request that uh, uh, you can have a discussion, or you can also attempt the quiz which madam had shared. So you'll get around 10 minutes time. So, so please go ahead, and if you have any questions, we will discuss.